Hi friends! It's been a while since I did an off-grid living episode, so today I'm going to give you the big picture of our off-grid move and then talk about what we miss the most after over 2 years living here and what we're doing to remedy that. Hey friends! Welcome to the Get Goatwise podcast. Are you longing to raise goats and other animals for food but don't know where to start? Do you want to be more self-sufficient and less dependent on the grocery store? Do you wish you had a mentor to walk you through raising livestock? Hi, I'm Millie, animal scientist, cattle girl turned goat rancher, co-owner of Dry Creek Livestock, and simple living enthusiast. For 15 years, I've been on a mission to raise all of our own meat, eggs, and dairy. Here, we'll talk about raising goats and other homestead livestock, how to create sustainable animal management systems that actually work, and a bit of off-grid life with kids and livestock. If you're ready to take control of your food supply, raise livestock with confidence, and provide your family with the most nourishing meat, eggs, and dairy available, you're in the right place. Kick off your muck boots, pour a cup of coffee, and let's talk livestock. Hey there! Do you want to hang out with like-minded folks who are also interested in raising their own livestock and seeking self-sufficiency? Inside the free Raising Goats and Homestead Livestock community, you'll get tips on raising goats and other livestock and ideas to increase your self-sufficiency. Join now at bit.ly/getgoatwisecommunity. You can also become an insider and get weekly emails from me with the latest podcast episode, tips on raising goats and other livestock, real-life information about self-sufficiency and living off-grid, and early bird access to special offers. Sign up at bit.ly/getgoatwiseinsider. We're getting closer to opening up our direct meat sales, and you'll want to make sure you're on the insider's email list so you'll be the first to know when it opens up. And I think there might be some special savings just for listeners of the podcast. I had one of those weeks that was a whirlwind of travel and appointments, and I ended up away from the ranch for 4 days, which is way too much for me. We got another load of hay this week because of the amount of feed we're going through feeding the kids. Luckily, Stacy, Ray, and Darcy handled all the chores except milking, so everything still got done well, even with Sage and me being gone most of the week. I do make the best of my driving time, though. We're about 2 hours away from the city, so I get to talk to my kids if they're with me, or I listen to podcasts, think about everything, make plans, and figure out solutions to problems we're facing. So it's not wasted time. I was thinking about our time off-grid and what we miss the most since we ditched public utilities and started building our place from the ground up, and what we'd change if we started all over again. We've been working on this for over 5 years, but it doesn't seem that long at all. If you're discouraged by the amount of money and time it takes to buy land and change your lifestyle, don't be. All you need to do is make a plan and do the next right thing. For perspective, here's kind of our rough time frame. We contracted on our land in 2019. We started the water system in 2020. We closed on the land in 2021. We started the barn in 2022. We moved out to the land in 2022. The house in town sold in the spring of 2023, so we had no more backup, no more place to go if things weren't working. And then we started the second barn/shop in 2023. It's still pretty rustic around here. We don't have indoor running water, let alone hot water, or plumbing. We don't have a root cellar or food storage area that's safe for canned food. We do have a shipping container that's rodent-proof, but there's a freeze risk. As far as laundry, we don't have a washer or dryer. We won't do a dryer anyway, but it'll be nice when we have a washer and a clothesline to hang our clothes on. Our local laundromat 25 miles away is really fantastic though, so I'm not rushed in getting a washer. I'm not worried about that one. Originally, when we started this adventure, we were going to do a steel building that would be a shop as well as living area. Unfortunately, we contracted with an unethical business. We paid a cash down payment, and they failed to meet any of their promised deadlines, but wouldn't let us out of the contract because the dates weren't in the contract, even though they were in a dozen emails. It was a nightmare. It's not just this one company. I have a friend that had the same thing happen with a different steel building company. So my advice, if you're thinking of a steel building, is use a local company where you can walk in and look them in the eye. And don't do a cash down payment, even if you have the money. If you borrow money to pay, you then have a bank on your side to fight for you if your builder defaults on their agreement. So even though it felt hopeless and horrible at the time, we learned some very important things. And it changed what we plan to do now because we've been living so small for over 2 years. It's been very nice to not have big utility bills and maintenance on a big house. So when we do build in the next few years, it'll be small, probably 800 square feet or less. Learning that now before we overbuilt is such a blessing. When we moved over here, we got 2 40-foot shipping containers. So we do have rodent-proof storage in those, and that's been vital. We have household stuff, food storage that can handle freezing, tools and shop supplies, building materials, and right now, a couple pallets of 4-H livestock feed. We set those containers 40 feet apart so that we can eventually build a roof that spans over them for covered hay storage. For now, we stack the hay in between them, tarp it until the wind shreds the tarps, and we put panels up to keep the elk out. Prefer horse panels with utility panels zip tied to them have kept the elk out of the hay so far. I joke with my neighbor that as long as it's harder to get into my hay than it is to get into his, I'm going to be fine. If you're not familiar with elk, they can destroy your hay storage in pretty short order. They eat a lot, but what they don't eat, they pee on, and then nothing will eat it. We do get depredation elk tags from the state to help deter the elk from eating everything. So far, we haven't had many elk this winter. For the most part, we love living out here. It's been challenging for sure, and we've had to get pretty creative. I'm fortunate that my husband is a fabulous mechanic and can figure out how anything works. He comes up with some really great ideas and ways to work around problems. The water system has been one of the most brilliant things we've done out here. Some of the benefits weren't necessarily planned, but it's been so good. We've had very low maintenance, no problems so far, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. We have 3 frost-free hydrants near the well and where the house will be, and we have 2 more up at the barn. That's better water availability than we had in town. The water system also services 4 livestock troughs and 3 frost-free drinkers, and another hydrant about halfway down the pipeline. If you want to know more about our off-grid water system, check out episode 9, linked in the show notes. So, what do we miss the most? We all miss our garage in town. We spent so much time in there doing everything from mechanic work, leather projects, building, and even kidding goats. That's why the building we're working on is taking priority over a house. We all need more space to do projects, and this building will give us that. The number one thing I miss the most is having good food storage space. We don't have any place outside of our tiny living area that is temperature controlled, so I had to cut down our food storage, and I don't like that at all. I'm looking forward to a place where I can store food and not worry about extreme heat or freezing temperatures. Food security and preparedness is a big thing we talk about on here, and having to limit what I can store has been hard and causes a level of tension for me that I can't quite explain. We do have our freezers in town at my dad's house, so that has been a huge blessing. But I'll sleep better when we have an insulated food storage area and our freezers here. The positive side is that I didn't realize how much it would bother me to not have a food storage area. So knowing what I do now, food storage is a much higher priority in planning a move off-grid than it was before, and that experience has made me a better guide when I'm helping someone else plan their off-grid move. So what's our plan for food storage? Ultimately, we will build a root cellar, but for now, there will be an insulated room in the barn/shop that we're building, and it will have a propane heater, so I can store food and not worry about it freezing or getting way too hot. There will be a little more space than I had at our house in town, specifically for storing food. We always stored potatoes and other root vegetables under the house in the crawl space in town, and we still won't have that here until we build the root cellar. So I'll be experimenting on different storage options for that, possibly an in-ground box that we cover with hay bales. So there you have it. I miss food storage space more than I miss hot running water, indoor plumbing, a washing machine, and my KitchenAid mixer. Though hot running water and indoor plumbing are a close second. It's funny what you can learn to live without and what really matters when you simplify. I hope this helps you in your off-grid planning, and if you have questions about anything off-grid, come on over to the community and start a conversation. Hey there, thanks for listening today. I'm so glad you're here. If this episode helped you or encouraged you in some way, share the link with your homesteading friends. And if you really want to help me out, click on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and a review. You can connect with me on Instagram or email linked in the show notes, and meet me back here soon for more Get Goat Wise.